Welcome to the Mindfully Gay podcast, where we unite gay men in ritual, reflection, and renewal. I'm John.
And I'm Jerry.
As this final week of Pride Month arrives, we wanted to add one more episode to help celebrate the season and reflect on the deeper meaning of pride.
Today we're exploring survival to thriving, the evolution of a gay pride, a conversation about where pride began, how it has evolved over the decades, and what it means to move beyond survival and into a life of authenticity, belonging, joy, and purpose.
Whether you're attending your first Pride celebration or reflecting on decades of community history, we're glad you're here. Let's begin.
Well, good morning and welcome to the Mindfully Gay podcast. I'm Jerry.
And I'm John.
And we are continuing our theme along Pride.
Yes.
Even though we're recording in April. We know it's coming.
This episode actually should drop the official weekend of the anniversary of Stonewall, which was June 28th, 1969. So this is the 57th anniversary of Stonewall.
I was 5 years old.
Were you really? Gee, so you remember it.
I do. But that's so, it is interesting to think in 1969, when I was 5, 55 years ago,
wow,
that door came to the closet, came swinging open. And here we are all these years later. If anything has been consistent in the American dream, it has been the evolution of Pride Day festivals and celebrations. And I think we talked in an earlier podcast. I remember going to the Gallivan Center. And I know that was like the second location of the Pride Day.
Right.
But I remember going to the Gallivan Center and all the booths where people brought cardboard tables and they had their own little shade structures. And there might have been a couple hundred people that showed up. But it was kind of like a reunion.
Yeah.
And now here in Salt Lake City, at least, the parade draws in over 100,000 people.
Yeah, it's a big deal with the festival and just the grounds and closing off streets. I mean, it's a big deal.
Yeah,
it's a big deal.
And it's become a Salt Lake City festival.
Yeah,
and I sometimes think it's now become a festival of diversity.
That makes sense. Yeah,
like. I think before it was maybe centered around gay pride, but now we have gender identities and sexual orientations, and then allies and corporations and businesses. And I remember the first time at a pride event thinking, there's a bank here.
Yeah, that was surprising.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that too. Like, why is Wells Fargo here?
but it was kind of like, wow, this business, this organization is willing to show up and support us outside of cigarette companies and alcohol companies.
Yeah.
Right? Which, I think it felt like they were preying on us, actually.
Absolute vodka.
You're gay? Be an alcoholic? No. But, now there's all this. And what's interesting now in this political climate where, the MAGA forces, if you will, it's interesting. Corporations are pulling out.
Yeah.
In fact, when we interviewed Chad at the Pride Center, talking about all these organizations and businesses, now it's no longer politically savvy. To me, now it's going to be more interesting which corporations dare show up, because I know if my bank's not there, I'm changing banks, and I'm gonna use organizations and businesses that dare to show up during the difficult times.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it will be interesting. Certainly at the time of recording, it's April for us right now, so we haven't had Pride yet. So there is the question of what will our Pride Festival look like because of those corporate pullouts, and see who shows up.
Yeah,
and see what's left. Because I wonder. I think part of my imagination, there's a hope. I think that it kind of comes back to what we used to know about pride, or how we used to experience pride, which was, like you say, kind of like this big reunion of
Yeah.
our community and coming together and all of that, not all the corporate stuff.
Yeah. So I'm not sure how we're going to title this podcast, but I think the theme that we've been taking is how to create something personal and intimate about pride. Like, we love the parties, we love the festivals, we love the performers, we love the drag queens, we love the leather daddies, blah, blah, blah. But how do we take this idea of pride and make it intimate? And I think you and I have been kicking around this word sacred.
Yes.
How do we create something meaningful, purposeful, and sacred around pride?
What kind of got us going and kind of talking about this particular episode, a lot of things came up, like the sacred piece. And the word that another thing that popped up for me was just activism. And, because pride started as this activist, movement. It was a movement, right? And with the Stonewall riots and everything and all of that started a movement in our community. And that whole thing about survival and being seen and being known and being recognized and accepted, and all of that became very active. It was a form of activism and very much politicized and all of that. And I think that can also be woven into kind of the sacred piece and maybe pair it up in some kind of way. Can our activism be sacred as well, right?
Okay, and then, well, I think whenever we take, I think our culture, generally speaking, not the gay, just the general culture, is easily seduced by groupthink, right? We kind of collectively align ourselves around a particular idea or way of existing. For instance, I think there is collective thinking that minimizes and marginalizes aging, right? We project that that's about the time of your life when you fall apart, get tired, get broken down, right? And so society, culture just kind of gravitates around those assumptions. And doesn't take any responsibility for creating a different narrative. And I think sometimes in our queer community, there's a very similar, and here's a terrible example, but whenever we find out someone in the gay community is on the conservative end of the political conversation, right, we become appalled. Like, how dare you have an individual thought? But to me, whenever we take a concept that there is a particular cultural norm about, and we dare to challenge it or transform it and make it our own, to me, that's a sacred practice.
Oh, wow. I never thought of it that way.
And what I would say is, with all my exposure and even some of the work that I've done, like, people will say, well, how do those shamans do those things? I've seen shamans get rid of cancer and shift things for people. And here's my conclusion, having watched them for many, many years, is most shamans are not seduced by one particular reality.
Right.
And so they're able to think outside of a diagnostic condition.
Right. That makes sense.
And they're able to kind of step into another way of doing things. With the assistance of spirit and the ancestors and what have you. And I think one of the innate gifts of being queer and gay is we are always outside of the box. We are always inventing. And I think what I've noticed now at this point in my life is a lot of the things that we kind of initiated and created at some point as a gay cultural thing now become, I've noticed a lot of, for instance, straight guys who pick up on it. Now it becomes their fashion sense or their way of doing things.
Yes.
And so I think in many ways we become like these trailblazers.
Oh, yes. In many ways, in many things.
That to me is sacred, whether we're conscious of it or not.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good point. And to remember that, to kind of look at some of those activities or ways of thinking, ways of dress, a lot of those things, originated, in our culture. And to remember that so that we can continue to celebrate that and in a way claim it as our own, but I think also honor that, okay, well, now it's mainstream. But remember where it came from.
Oh, yeah. Well, Meryl Streep, I just noticed this yesterday on some social media. She gave a talk or something, and she just pretty much said, what we celebrate in the arts and what we celebrate as far as like movies and theaters, she was explicit to say would not exist without gay people.
Really?
Oh, you haven't seen this?
Oh, I haven't seen that. Go Meryl.
Right. But here's this person who is well esteemed in her industry.
Yes.
And I make an assumption that she's an ally.
Yeah.
But for her to kind of come out and say,
wow,
look, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing as actors and performers. This industry probably wouldn't exist without the influence and talents of gay people, whether it's makeup, costumes, directing, acting.
Yeah. Just that creative endlessness, really, that we seem to possess, and not just hold within, but able to share and put out into the world, is pretty remarkable. And to have someone like a Meryl Streep, just anyone, but someone like a Meryl Streep to say that outright, is a declaration of our
value.
Exactly. Our value of who we are as a people, as a culture.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we consulted with the Oracle.
Yes.
They, don't know if it's a he or a she or they or them, but we'll just say they.
They.
It's interesting how AI knows us so well. But we picked a few points. We kind of asked AI about this conversation and got some really interesting guidance on this.
Yes. What are some of the things that
I didn't put everything on this list, but I picked out the discussion questions.
Yeah.
Because I thought these were great questions. And I'll just kind of go through them, and I'll just read these three, and then we can just kind of randomly pick which one we want to talk about.
Yeah.
Where did you first feel truly seen as a gay man? Besides Grindr. What spaces helped you survive? What spaces help you thrive now?
Oh, that's fascinating.
So let's stick with the first one. Like, where'd you truly seen as a gay man? Mine's a weird answer.
Really? Mine kind of goes back to my coming out story and progression, because I came out publicly while I was in college. I was 19. And around that time, I also joined I was in college, and I had joined our Gay and Lesbian Association, GALA. That's just what we were called, GALA.
Oh.
And I that's where I felt truly seen and accepted.
At GALA?
Uh-huh.
You got me recalibrating my answer.
Ah.
I think for me, I came out, but I didn't like the gay world was kind of elusive. I couldn't find it. Remember, we didn't have internet or even cell phones.
Right.
And so we used to have this magazine. We have this magazine in Salt Lake City, and on the back page, they would have classifieds. And that was terrifying. If you think Grindr and Scruff is rough, try, that was, so that, I wouldn't say that that was an affirmative experience, but I happened to, the first agency I worked for, I had a supervisor, and there were 3 colleagues that I worked with. And I came out to them, and they were very affirming. And, remember, this is like in the early 90s.
Sure.
So they just kind of held space. 2 of them were straight. One was a gay guy, and one was he was in conversion therapy and very active Mormon.
Wow.
And he had some very conflicting kind of processes happening. But for whatever reason, that combination of people, I felt like I could just be out and gay, and it gave me a place to just normalize that I existed. And then the gay guy in that group took me to my first club experience. But I'm going to tell you that isn't where I felt the most affirmed. Because I know I showed up with a lot of stereotyped ideas. I hadn't quite deconstructed the narratives I've had in my head about being gay.
Yeah.
The deconstructive part happened in those conversations with those people.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then eventually I owned the clubs.
When I think back about that experience, with Gala, now think of the context. I was in college. I went to a Catholic university. And so there's certainly a viewpoint about homosexuality in Catholicism, right?
They're very liberal.
Well, I'm going to say partly yes, because I went to a Jesuit school, and Jesuits tend to be a little bit more liberal. I mean, there were gay priests. And so even though I wasn't fully out at some point, but just being in that environment and the comfort that I really experienced overall at my school with my colleagues, my other students, and even among our priests, and I was very much involved in our church, I just felt warmly accepted. I wasn't out, but I just felt warmly accepted. And I think when I did have this kind of public coming out, and I want to say a little bit more about that, but then I was a part of Gala, or I joined Gala, and they just affirmed it. You're a gay man, it's all good. Because it was, although I felt comfortable where I was, it just wasn't stated, right? As far as me being a gay person in that atmosphere. But here was a place in this Catholic university where you're gay, John, and that's okay, and that's cool. But as this may even answer part of that second question, but what helped me thrive or just help me survive really were actually my classmates and my dorm mates. Because I can remember a very specific situation where it was, I guess I was getting close to graduating, and it was prom season, and they have their night out and everything in college, and I asked a guy who was part of Gala at the time to go to prom with me, and he said yes, and we were going to go as a group, kind of a big thing. That's what young people did at the time. And my friends, my dorm mates, my friends, who I was very close to, just had my back. Just, wholeheartedly. Where, things like, John, if anyone gives you a hard time because you're going with so-and-so, we've got you, they just, and I felt that. I really did feel like I'm okay here. I'm in good hands. So I was very fortunate. I think my coming out, especially at a Catholic school and all of that and what could have happened, I felt very held and helped me survive and thrive after that. So I feel like that was a sacred moment, a very spiritual
Yeah.
component for me.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm curious. That was in California.
yeah, this is California.
Where were you at in the continue when you came to Salt Lake? Like, had you already been out for a while?
Oh yeah. I had been out for a while because I was college and I went to grad school in California, so that's another 4 years. um, and then I came to Salt Lake, so I'd been out for quite some time.
Yeah, because well, this would have been in the early '90s too, right?
Yeah, I got here in '94. I came out it was late '80s when I came out publicly.
Yeah, I guess the reason I asked that because I think California tends to be ahead of the curve when it comes to social, and then Utah is behind the curve. And so I just wondered what that was like coming to a new area, a new city. You weren't with Jeff yet, were you?
No, I wasn't. I think, like I had a good setup. Like, I said, Catholic university, good overall experience with my college years, even in grad school. I was surrounded by good people, gay and straight and all, everything on the spectrum. So I think I arrived here knowing that, okay, now I'm going to be in Mormon culture. I just felt good. I felt very comfortable with myself and confident in myself that I didn't have to like necessarily go back into the closet.
Yeah.
I did have to, there was some coming out processes, but it seemed easy and because I had, a good history of being accepted beforehand. So I didn't feel like I had any problems with just stating who I was here.
Well, and I think, and this kind of goes to my answer to this question is, I know once I came out and started making connections, and I think this is hard for maybe younger viewers to get, but my experience of the gay community here is that at one time we were incredibly intimate. We were a small community. And so people gravitated to like Salt Lake City, like the 9th and 9th area, or at the clubs. Like I couldn't wait for Fridays because everyone would show up at the clubs, and then we could just be free,
just yourself.
We could Monday through Thursday or Sunday through Thursday, right? We were playing stealth in some cases,
right?
Or even if we were out, it's not like we could normalize the experience. We might, if a group of us would go out to brunch, or a group of us would go to an event, then we would find safety in our numbers.
Yes.
And certainly the clubs, which were very popular, even though like I didn't drink a whole lot, I didn't do drugs, but I found community at those clubs. And I tell people, clubs were really community centers.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so people showed up just to be in connection with. And I can tell you, as much as those facilitated a sense of connection and normality, they were no different than Grindr and Scruff in terms of some days you feel very seen and validated, and sometimes you go home thinking, what's wrong with me? Which I think is two parts. I think one is how we treat each other, but I think the other part of it is our own internalized crap.
Sure.
And so it's easy to project that.
Yeah.
I was going to say too, the one place that became, I remember the first time I went, I was terrified. And that's when my elder that I work with in Native traditions took a ceremony to a group of radical fairies at Wolf Creek, Oregon. And so Wolf Creek, Oregon and the fairies are known to be incredibly liberal and edgy. And I remember my mentor preparing me for public nudity and just crazy openness about things.
Yeah.
So I remember showing up being really shy and really nervous. But after 4 days, I cried going home
Oh.
because it was such a powerful, affirming,
Yes.
communal experience.
I'm getting chills thinking about
Which,
it.
quite frankly, it's what initiated Queer Spirit and even Mindfully Gay, is
Right.
creating a group of mindfully conscious gay guys or queer folks who dressed any way they wanted to, but we all got together to mindfully connect in this ritual. And it was so powerful. And I went every year for many, many years because it was an oasis.
Yes. Yes. And I think we need to keep dropping in the word sacred. These were sacred spaces for us. When you got to those, fairy camps, when we went to the bars, when we went to the clubs, when we went dancing, when we went to brunch, these became our sacred places because we got to let our hair down and just freely express and just be ourselves without all the masks and hindrances of whatever, right? Yeah. We really got to show up as ourselves. And you're right, you can see the trajectory as far as how we connected and creating Mindfully Gay, previous to that, Queer Spirit, etc. Yeah, I see the links now. I want to do another little nostalgic thing here too, because when I got to Salt Lake, because I certainly wasn't born and raised here, I came here to do an internship. So it was, in a way, it was easy for me to kind of come out. I was an internship. It was only 3 of us in my intern program. I could easily come out to them. They were very accepting. Even my, supervisors, etc., all very open. I think one of my supervisors, lesbian. So it was easy. But as far as kind of the social scene, this is the early days of internet. Okay. So I had dial-up. I remember this. I had dial-up internet in my little apartment, and I had Prodigy. I don't think anyone remembers Prodigy, but just like the newspaper articles, and now we have Grindr and things like that, you can go to the kind of the gay channels, basically on AOL or whatever.
M for M.
M for M. Oh my gosh. And so that's how I started making my social circle, where I met one guy and he had a couple of friends, and there was this little group of guys that we all had the same interests. We weren't, we liked to go to the clubs and bars, but none of us really smoked or drank or anything, but we loved dancing. We played pool, and just had the best time. Yeah. This was my little family when I first moved here to Salt Lake. And yeah, it was just a little bit of a throwback, just how I kind of stepped into the social scene, gay social scene in Salt Lake at that time, and what was available.
Well, then I think those AOL chat rooms turned into
Manhunt. Yeah.
You remember Manhunt?
Oh yeah, Manhunt. M for M. I mean, oh my gosh, it was all the early days of connection.
And then what was so frustrating, you have dial-up internet and you'd be like trying to watch a video or something that's like frozen. It was like, no!
The buffering took forever, people. Even just pictures coming up. It just...
It's like, I'm out of the mood.
You dial up, leave the room, waiting for everything to...
We were so desperate.
So desperate. Oh my gosh, it's so funny.
But now that we have it on our phones and at instant access, now we all complain about it.
Fast enough.
I like this question, right? When we think about our queerness, like, were we taught how to survive or how to thrive?
I think it really depends on what era you came from. We certainly have talked about, kind of our era and growing up and what was around. And so I feel like my structure and beginnings it was survival. It was definitely survival.
How to be careful, where to go, not go, don't go alone.
How to dress, what to say, what not to say.
I remember some of the clubs, like, it was just kind of common knowledge. Don't walk out to your car by yourself.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Like, you just did that. And then I think when HIV and AIDS
Mm.
was like coming on board,
Right.
The messages around safe sex.
Mm.
In fact, I have a video that some health department did, and this woman with the light blue eyeshadow,
Love it.
and she's like, the best way to not get AIDS is don't have sex. and I remember watching this video that was meant to be like a public service announcement, and it was like you couldn't help but to digest that your sexuality was dangerous,
Right. Yeah.
and to have anxiety, and can I trust you?
Mm-hmm.
Can I trust you to be honest with me? And I think a lot of our suspicions and our cautions with each other might have been fueled by outside sources.
Yeah.
There's a great episode or scene in the movie called "And the Band Played On."
Mm.
And if you remember, HIV and AIDS was originally called GRID, gay-related infectious disease,
That's
or something
right.
like that.
Yeah, that's right.
And there's a scene in that movie where the activists are saying, you're creating a problem by specifically calling this gay.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I believe that's where HIV and AIDS came up, because gay men were not the only ones being infected.
Exactly.
But it was being communicated, and it fueled this religious conservative right response. I mean, Jerry Falwell and some of the other crazy preachers were all about, this was God's condemnation on us.
Mm-hmm.
And
it was also, remember, they used to use the term gay cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah. AIDS was the gay cancer.
Yeah. Before they really knew what was happening.
Right.
Yeah. So I guess pointing that out, right? And I think in many cases, a lot of gay people, and maybe what's even still kind of happening, but maybe not in the same degree, is, right, we were taught to almost resent ourselves, like we had somehow called this on ourselves. And I know when I first started my practice, how many gay men said when HIV and AIDS hit, they went back into the closet.
Yeah. It just was another layer of fear.
Yeah.
And like you said, trust and exposure and all of that was, pretty squashing as far as our identity and who we were and how we could show up in the world.
Yeah.
Because we were certainly viewed in a certain way.
And so I think, in 2026, we certainly, it's interesting. We have a political party that's trying to weaponize us. And I'm sure in some pockets they're effective. But what's interesting is I think people hear some of that rhetoric, and I think people just collectively roll their eyes, because whether you're gay or straight or whatever, that is archaic, outdated, unreasonable ways of thinking.
Yeah. There's certainly a shift. Certainly a shift has occurred. I guess you can kind of, owe it to Gen Z. I don't know. Kind of the don't give a fuck attitude.
It's our generation. No.
Almost a kind of I don't give a fuck attitude about things. Where, no big deal. I'm just going to be myself,
Well, I don't know that it's generational. And let me tell you why I say that is because I think once the door opened, it gave permission for parents and grandparents who knew something was happening with their kids. It gave them permission to align themselves with their kids. I think before, the public discourse caused everyone to kind of
panic,
at least not talk about it.
Yeah.
And now I think if you look at statistically, right, gay marriage was inevitable because people statistically, as they became conscious of gay people in their lives, it didn't make sense to them. Can I tell you, before gay marriage was a thing, Bruce and I were together for 18 years before gay marriage became legal.
Yeah.
But before that, how many people say, well, are you guys going to get married? And we'd say, well, legally we can't.
Mm-hmm.
And I was shocked at how many people didn't realize that gay people couldn't get married.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I'm like, what rock are you living under? Right. But a lot of people, so it didn't make sense for them. And so I think as people became more familiar with it, this is just my opinion.
Sure. Yeah.
And I see this too with parents and grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see people having the same anxiety about coming out today as maybe 15 years ago.
Sure. Yeah.
And, the other thing that sticks out about gay marriage, I remember when that all went down. And how many of my single clients said, yeah, I'm not dating anyone. I'm not interested in getting married today, but I feel like I can walk down the sidewalks of my street and I feel seen. I feel relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Like something about that ruling facilitated validation.
Yeah. Yeah. It's making me think about activism again.
Yeah.
Because of, what our community they really rose to the occasion around, marriage, gay marriage. And there was this, we were more seen, people were coming out of the woodwork, so to speak, and fighting for their rights. And so we became more visible, certainly more relevant in fighting for what we deserve and should naturally have. And that's certainly if we kind of go back in time, like with AIDS and HIV and getting treated and getting medication, that was another whole activism movement with ACT UP, and we got to get our government on board and take care of our people. And so there was a moment of emerging and being visible, and we're fighters and we're going to fight for our rights. We can keep tracking back and finding these historical moments in our trajectory, like Stonewall. That was a big moment for us, so that we can be where we are today, where, like you said, that client feels like, oh, I can now walk down the street and be seen, and not necessarily feel like they have to hide, because we are more visible. We are out there. We are, we're on television. We're at the church. We're at the grocery store. We're on a podcast. And so there's this maybe a little bit greater sense of ease in being, yourself out there, as opposed to, a whole generation ago.
So there's this. I'm just going to read this quote because I think this is leading to that, and that is, "Our joy is not a distraction from the movement; it is part of the movement."
Oh,
and so
totally agree.
I'm wondering, as gay men, where do we find our joy?
For me, it's when I get to do what I want to do, because people see me in the things that I do in my day to day, and like, John, you're doing this, you're always doing things, and I just say, I'm doing the things that I love. I just get to do the things that I love, and that's what brings me joy, and hopefully that I exude that, and people can see that's my nature. So I think, when I'm looking at the community and who we are and how do we express joy, I think it's something like Pride, where you can just show up and just be. That's the celebration of it all. But can you take that joy and appreciation, that pride, and it shows up in every other aspect of your life? Whether you're going bowling or you're at the job doing your lawyer stuff or whatever you do, is there joy in that?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I really think it's about being able to express yourself authentically, fully, without the masks, without the fear, without those layers of whatever you're bound to or bound by. That's my initial thought.
I like Pride festivals for the most part. I think sometimes I think here recently they feel just huge. And so, um, and yeah, I think my joy is some version of that. Like I love when we have a retreat, and I love when we're gathering at the end of it, and it may be a group of really handsome, beautiful men, and that might be what I initially see in them. But I love at the end of it when I feel like I've connected with their energy, connected with their the kindness that they exude towards each other, what we share with each other. I love when we're kind of at the end of the process, and it feels like community and connection. I love that feeling.
Yeah, yeah.
That happens here frequently. Like even if we do a sweat lodge, which is just a couple hours, people show up as strangers, but they leave having been connected in a beautiful, powerful way. And I celebrate that. I think the early Pride festivals felt very much like that. I love being part of something that allowed, that's I think why I was so involved in activism, is I loved working in communal team processes. Because it affirmed something within myself, and I felt like I now had something I had shared with somebody. And I think I think part of this conversation, right, is we have Pride the festival, and in many ways that becomes performative. I know for me, I get kind of intimidated. Like I think I'm in pretty good shape, and I have had a good journey that way, but I get kind of intimidated when people are kind of stripped down and it becomes overtly highly sexual. I celebrate that, but I also know that I think I can balance it and find the nuance and get past it. But I think for a lot of people in our community, that may be intimidating. That may be the thing that causes them some distress about themselves. And so there is this interesting question, right? What makes a Pride celebration meaningful instead of performative? Like how do we create something? And I think we talked about this in the last podcast, which I really do think we should create that ritual. But how do we create meaning versus, getting up there in our 3-inch shorts and letting our pecs fly around while we wave flags?
Right. What's crossing my mind is like, even like before going to a Pride festival, let's say, and it might start out as performative, with the costuming, the attitude, and all of that. So you might show up as that initially, but maybe beforehand, because I think I would want to do this for myself, is, well, why am I going? What do I want to learn, achieve, experience, gain, etc.? And I know I've grown to be more introverted, and so I really enjoy intimacy, one-on-one, or just very small group of people that, ideally kind of like-minded, where I can have conversations like this with other people about spirituality or sexuality, or just kind of dig a little deeper with topics, not just talk about, oh girl, did you see that movie? Just kind of superficial things, but kind of get deep. That's my preference. And so in going to like a Pride festival, or even, I can even say this, I recently went to a Morning Wood event, and I was driving. As I was driving there, I was getting so nervous. I'm like, John, I was talking to myself, John, why are you so nervous? Because part of it was those funky questions that go through my head. will I be accepted? Will people like me? And am I dressed appropriately? And all those dumb things that really don't mean much. And I just had to talk to myself out loud in the car. John, you don't need to be nervous. Just show up, be yourself, and you will connect if that's what you're wanting to do.
Well, and you were probably the only one that showed up nervous. That must have really escalated it.
But I think that's the feeling with a lot of people. Probably they probably felt like they're the only one that nervous.
Yeah.
Because everyone else looks so confident and well put together and all of that. They certainly couldn't be feeling those things, right? When the reality is they're probably just as anxious or more,
The first morning event I went to, I had the same experience. And if you remember, I went home early because I was just like overwhelmed. Yeah. And I there were some people there that I knew. And at some point I started connecting. Hey, how was your experience at morning? How was your experience at, I probably talked to like 3 or 4 guys. They all said the same thing, that they felt a little overwhelmed.
Yeah.
They felt kind of anxious about it. They weren't sure how to fit into the experience.
Yeah.
Now, to their credit, they did better than me because I was like, okay, I'm going home. I am too old for this. And then I've been to other events since then. And it's kind of like, once you kind of break through the anxiety of what is this about, and you have some idea of what to expect, it's easier to show up again and again.
Yeah. So just, what do you want to gain from the experience? If it's going to be a little bit more, if it's going to be sexualized or that kind of talk and relationship, and you can kind of dwell in that vibe, then go for it. But if you feel like, it'd be kind of cool if I'm able to, sit one-on-one with somebody and get to know them, that'd be really cool. I know that would be my deal.
Yeah.
And I got to have that experience at this last Morningwood. So I think that's one way where we can, kind of take away not necessarily take away the performance piece, but what's the inspirational part of it, or what's going to bring you joy, what's going to help you really have a full, experience, and showing up authentically with something like that, like a Pride festival or a party or the bar or wherever you might show up.
Yeah. So here's some good questions. Do you want to read these? I always feel like I'm questioning you. I feel like I put you on the spot. But
no.
This one here is, what are you proud of now that younger you wouldn't understand?
Oh, I don't know if I could say.
Well, now our listeners want to know.
I have to say, I'm proud of my sexual expression, and because I think I have found a circle of people who I can kind of be open about it with, and then even teach it. I mean, I teach Tantra classes, and so I feel really comfortable in that space, and really feel good about that space. Where at my younger self, especially the self that was still trying to figure out what was going on, would have probably said, don't you dare, don't you dare put yourself out there. You're going to get hurt. You're going to get maimed. You're going to get beat. You're going to get ostracized. All the bad things were going to happen if you expressed yourself like that. And so, now I think I can tell my younger self, hey, you're going to be okay. You're going to be, you're going to find your people, and you're going to find a peace and a calm, and even see these as a way. Maybe this is your gift. You'll discover that this is your gift to to help you evolve as a person, but also a gift to share with others to help them evolve. So that's what I would tell my younger self.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
Well, I'm not sure how to. I think I would. I feel like I've kind of come into that consciousness just recently, actually. And I've had a lot of changes from the age of 55 to today. There's been a lot of changes physiologically, spiritually, socially. Look, I think for me, midlife crisis happened about 60. As I was approaching 60. I tell people it took me 3 years to turn 60. And the way I have framed that experience was a process of initiation. I was initiating into this place of my eldership. And I credit a lot of different influences in my life. Part of that has certainly been the shamanic elders that I've worked with.
Right.
I've talked about Nick was hugely influential in getting healthy. And not just healthy, but
helped you shift a narrative, right?
Yeah, because he would just, every time I would say, "Don't you think I'm too old?" he would no.
Roll his eyes and
and his husband. And I think people jump to conclusions about Nick and his partner, but these have been just beautiful elders in my life. And so in many ways, and then I want to say the younger generation. It's interesting being I cringe, daddy. I cringe because I just don't like these words. But how many guys 20 years younger than me are into it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I love that because I was not that person. And I love the kindness and generosity and sensuality that's been brought that way. Yeah, so I think those have been really helpful tools. And so I kind of like where I'm at today. But what I would say too is I think my life has kind of been benchmarked by lots of experiences that have brought me to today. So I love this this other question. So anyways, I think my younger self was always looking for the finish line. And what myself today says is, there is no finish line. We're constantly evolving.
Yes, absolutely.
What part of yourself still needs permission to be seen? I'll answer it.
Okay.
I think I just shared where I feel like I'm at and I'm arriving, but it's still new territory. And so I think I'm still giving myself permission to follow the evolution, to expand my experiences. I think there's this other part of me that still consciously has to give permission for my voice to come forward.
Yeah, totally right.
If we were here, it's kind of different, and even in my office. But if I'm in a collective kind of experience, I will kind of hold back. And part of the holding back is the assessment of, am I going to be understood? Is this going to ostracize me? Is this going to create some problems? And I would like to be able to give myself more permission to just follow that intuition.
Yes. Yeah. I can totally relate. When you said, have more of a voice, bing, ding, ding, that's so me. I feel like I'm on this continual journey on being able to express myself and speak my truth and have a voice. Because I would do the same thing. I would edit myself or quiet myself and question, in certain settings before I spoke. Like, will I be heard and will I be accepted? And, because I've had experiences where it felt like I said something and it just got ignored. I'm like, well, what's the worth of saying anything if I'm just going to get ignored or turned away, or people are not following through with a suggestion that I'm putting out there, so I would shut up. And so still giving myself permission to speak up, even if there might be the sense of being ignored, or a different idea comes up. At least I spoke my truth. This is what I'm feeling. This is what I need to say in this moment. I'm going to say it.
I had this experience today at the gym. There, I do a lot of stretching and mobility so that you don't kill me in yoga. But there was this woman, I'd never seen her there at the gym before, and she wasn't wearing any makeup and her hair wasn't done. But I just was looking at her and I thought the core and essence of her was just beautiful.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I thought, I wanted to go up to her and say, you are a stunningly beautiful woman. And the little voices in my head said,
don't do that.
and what's interesting is I have done that with other people, right? And in every case, somebody has said, like, you can tell that they're happy about having gotten that feedback.
Yeah.
But there was something about saying it to this gal that I thought, this could get me in trouble. And I thought, and even part of my strategy in talking to her was, how do I say this and not come off as like a pervert?
Right.
And then I thought, well, just own your pervert. No. But I wonder how many times we miss opportunities. Yeah, I think I've talked about this before. There's a couple guys at the gym who I always notice, like, they work out by themselves. I know that they're gay. And so I've made it an effort. If we cross paths, I will say, good morning.
Yes.
How was your workout? And in every case, just the token of, it doesn't even have to go beyond that.
Yep.
But now I notice that when they see me, they'll say something.
They say something. There's a sense of, there's acknowledgement, a wave, a smile or something. Yeah. Absolutely.
So, okay. What does Pride look like outside of June? Well, the flags come down. Everything gets kind of dreary. No more rainbows.
We've talked about this a little bit. How do we carry that pride past, the festivals and the parades, and certainly past June? How do you continue with your voice? And I think I think it's important for us to continue to reiterate, the sacred value of what we get to celebrate, in June. That it helps us to remember and celebrate, to acknowledge, what are our sacred places? The bars, being on Grindr, the gym, the brunches, the drag shows. Just to remember, yes, I get to celebrate all of that beyond June, because I'm going to continue doing those things. Yeah. So why not celebrate them? What are the milestones? Whether it's, we've talked about creating kind of a coming out celebration or a ritual, and marking that as a day like your birthday or a day like Christmas or something like that, that we come together and celebrate, that we build upon the pride that has evolutionized, and revolutionized, I should say, over the past 57 years plus, right? So, I mean, that's all I can really say is, let's remember our value, how we show up, the importance of our relevance, our activism, our voice, how we show up in the world. That's pride. And that can be continued certainly beyond June.
Well, what I do is I update my Grinder pictures. No.
That's why not? Why not?
I remember every July 1st. Oh, I should probably.
Well, it's funny because I do that on my birthday. I update my photos on my birthday. That's my ritual. That's my milestone moment.
But as you were talking, and I was kind of thinking about that catty little response, we should create a mindfully gay app. And here we go.
Okay.
The gods are speaking. I think it could model Grindr, but it's an app specific about connection and community. There would be a requirement of clothing. Like, this is not where we do dick pics. This isn't where we do shirtless pics. Like, it would be, what do they call it? Headshots.
Headshots, yeah.
And the idea is, instead of what are my health guidelines, what are my sexual positions, right? It would be, what are my hobbies? What are my interests? What do I hope to get from this app? It could be an interesting way to create a sense of community and connection. You know, one thing I do when I go to the gym, I turn on Grindr, partly because I'm like, who's here? I'm not looking to hook up.
Same here.
I just want to know who's here.
Just
it's
who's
like,
here. Yeah, I do the same.
It's not that I have to walk around the gym and figure out who. Okay, where am I going to find that tattoo? But I wish I could just see a face, right? But imagine. And I think a lot of people do that. Like, when I go out of Salt Lake City, I think, oh, what do the gay boys look like around here?
Yeah.
And they're all shadows. Go to St. George, they're all shadows. But imagine an app that would facilitate bantering, connecting back and forth. And if people date or hook up, that's kind of their business. I have to wonder, is there a market for something like that?
I think so, because I think even, in some of those applications like Grindr, Scruff, if, some guys will use that description section and really kind of write out what their interests are, what they're looking for, what they're doing in life. And
even their net interests will say, like, networking friends.
Yeah. I
think, oh, this guy's just looking at, and I'll just say hi.
Yeah. I'm more likely to say hi to those folks too. And, and if they have a profile, I'll read it. Just more descriptive kind of things. Because often, and I think this happens with me, because I teach yoga and that kind of thing. And so people will comment or say hello. It's like, oh, you teach yoga, so here's a connection, here's a talking point, and we can start having a little dialogue around that. Not necessarily send me a dick pic, it's about whatever the interests are that are listed. So I think there are certainly folks who want that and see that. So why not a full app dedicated to that? I think there's a market.
Okay, so I would like to see the draft next week.
Okay.
We'll present it here.
All righty.
So anyways, that came up as like a question about what does Pride look like outside of June. And I think I'm in a unique position because I work with a lot of gay people. So I feel like I'm always in that space of finding pride and having a sense of pride around our identity. But I think what I would love for us to do is, what could we do to foster that sense of pride amongst each other? And to me, what brought pride about was community and connection.
Absolutely.
I think it will keep it alive.
It certainly, and it has, it has stayed alive all these decades, right? And this is what it's going to continue to keep it alive. It's about community. Maybe
pride is not about being louder. Maybe it's about being truer.
Love that.
Dum-dum.
Love that. Authenticity.
And then this last question, what is one gay ritual you secretly think is sacred? Let me give some examples, but...
Secretly think that's sacred? When I look at this list, go ahead and read those, because...
Well, they wrote down things like Sunday brunch, the gym, drag shows, chosen family dinners, pride marches, late night heart-to-heart conversations.
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting question, and even just the examples that, again, these are the oracles, kind of putting these out there. Why do they have to be secret? Why?
Yeah. AI bad oracle.
We can celebrate those, but maybe they're alluding to what are some other ways that we can show up, or other spaces that can be considered sacred.
Well, I think like at Easter, right? Our friends got together and we had Easter breakfast.
It was so fun.
It was. You brought muffins.
I brought muffins.
And everyone loved you. But that was, in fact, Bruce said, well, why don't we invite our neighbors to come over? I said, nope. I want to be with my gay brothers. Oh. And right, we had catty conversation. We had heartfelt conversations.
Yeah. Yeah.
We ate your muffins. But it was nice.
Yeah.
There's a couple of guys here who have started kind of like a morning wood. It's probably less formal and developed, but I think even like morning wood, right? There's this community piece of it. There's even a sexuality piece to it. But there is a particular energy that is an invitation to show up in a particular way. And my friends Andy and Jer, they have a very similar process. Theirs tends to be a much more intimate community. But I went to one of their events and frankly just sat and talked with guys. We were all in our underwear, but we just kind of sat and talked. And
love that.
And it was just sweet.
Yeah, love that.
And I guess people could look at that and say, oh, that's scandalous, or that's this or that. It can also be very sacred.
It's very sacred.
I'm thinking about your nude yoga, your tantric sex. Like when those guys get together and the layers come off, there is this energetic thing that happens.
Absolutely. There's, and people have often said, especially my, the repeat attendees, because I have the circle kind of talk about what brings you back or what brings you here. They often say, I just like the brotherhood. I get to be myself. I just feel more comfortable. Just all those things. They just feel more alive. And so being able to create spaces like that, in order to elevate our truth, why not? And then have these celebrations like, Easter breakfast with friends. Just do those kinds of things. Or there's these scheduled things, like Morning Wood, because they are the second Sunday or the third Sunday of the month, I forget now. But it's a regular event. People know to put that on their calendar and they show up. And even at this last one, it was beautiful weather after having some cold, snowy weather, beautiful day. And they have this whole backyard set up, and which is more social and lively, and music playing and food and all of that. And then inside is the more, sexy stuff that's going on. And the host came over to me and just happened to say, there's no one inside. Everyone was outside just socializing and just having a good time. I said, well, because look, this is what you've created. This is what people want.
Yeah.
And the same kind of thing. They're in their underwear or just some fun costumes or clothing or whatever, and just having fun, casual conversation outside on the couches and lounge chairs and whatnot. And no one was inside.
I would be really, just to kind of toss this back to the audience, I'd be really curious about, and it doesn't take much. Like right now, this thing that we're doing,
yes,
whether we do it over lunch or on the podcast, I always walk away thinking, who needs a therapist? I have John.
I want to highlight that because I feel the same way. What we get to do, even though we do it in front of a camera, is so sacred.
Yeah.
And I look forward to it every time because it does feel like, it feels like therapy, but also feels like I get to have a voice and speak some things that I typically or may not in other cases get to talk about. I think I even wrote a little blog post maybe half a year ago that my podcast is my therapy, you know?
But I think whether it's 2 people or 20 people, right? Wherever you're sitting in the world, if it's Price, Utah, if it's somewhere in a remote country, you know, think about Harry Hayes started the Managing Society, which was just getting a couple of guys together that they shared their common interest of being with men.
Yeah.
They closed the drapes and they just sat together.
Yeah.
And that turned into a movement.
Mm-hmm.
Mindfully Gay is a movement. It's a suggestion to step into the power of who you are, to trust the magic of who you are.
That's it.
And if we want to be a powerful voice, we have to have a sense of community, which doesn't mean we all think the same, but we certainly share respect in our differences.
Yeah.
And we find power and beauty in that diversity. Think about what's happening in the world right now today, right? Diversity is seen as a handicap and a disadvantage. It's not. It's the source of our magic.
Yeah.
And so whether you dress in leather or you dress in high heels, could care less. Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Share it.
Share it.
Be with community.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the 3rd thing we've done around Pride. I think the next thing we need to do is create our ritual.
Yeah.
See who shows up.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe 2 or 3 guys will show up. Maybe 120 will show up.
Right.
We'll get the little foam thingy that they had at Morningwood. That will be the ritual bath.
Oh, there you go.
So we invite you, the listener, give us your thoughts, share with us your ideas. We are very interested to know, how do you celebrate Pride? How do you bring meaning into Pride, into your life? And how have you built community and connection? And you're not just telling us, your comments could supplement and help somebody else who's trying to figure out how to make that happen.
Exactly.
So you can find us at mindfullygay.com or on Instagram, mindfully_gay.
Right.
TikTok, mindfully gay. Facebook, mindfully gay. We have a collection of carrier pigeons that you can send messages to. But please don't hesitate to reach out. Some of you have sent direct messages on social media, and we love it.
Yeah.
We just love it.
Absolutely. And if you're watching us, thanks for watching us here on YouTube. Be sure to like and subscribe. If you're just listening to us, probably on various platforms, whether it's Apple Podcasts or Spotify or Audible, anywhere like that. Great, wonderful. Thanks for being part of our audience, and happy Pride, everybody.
Yoo-hoo!
Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Mindfully Gay podcast.
As Pride Month comes to a close, we hope this conversation inspires you to reflect on your own journey, from the moments you simply survived to the moments you truly began to thrive.
We'd love to hear your story. Share your thoughts and experiences with us on Instagram at mindfully_gay and join the conversation on TikTok at mindfullygay.
You can also visit mindfullygay.com to learn about upcoming free social events and opportunities to connect with our community.
If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to rate and review the podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Your ratings help more people discover these conversations and support the growth of our community.
Until next time, remember that Pride is more than a month. It's a practice of living authentically, building connection, and celebrating who you are.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on the Mindfully Gay podcast.